we have and the new offerings we have. But Dell also as an organization has transformed itself to an end-to-end solution company as a true services company. So I want to spend some time in walking through some of them and what you as our customers can gain in partnering with Dell. Okay, it's not a great way to start. So in a very quick reflection on what's happening in the market, I think clearly we are seeing phenomenal investments and consolidations happening on the data center space. Consolidation is clearly driving the agenda. More so on investing on green data centers. A lot of investments going around in the blade infrastructure. We are seeing one very interesting trend in the data center space. Unlike in developed economies where they have gone through the cycle, where most of the large corporations have invested on huge large infrastructure, and they're trying to modernize, optimize, and consolidate, and probably move more towards greener. You see, we in India, we are not seeing that much conversion as we speak. It's more of they all started in a slow in a conservative. Now it's a time they wanted to build real large infrastructure, but starting green from the very beginning. So we have crossed that cycle and straight move into building an infrastructure which is aligned to the greener. So we are seeing trends around this, and that's what we are clearly seeing a pattern. I'm not sure how many of you really know about Dell as a service organization. We all know about as a great client company. We provide a lot of desktops, laptops and desktop servers, the storage, the cloud solution, but very few or hardly we come across Dell as a services company. Just to give you some background, Dell as a service company, we're 8 billion worldwide from a revenue standpoint. That's the size of service organization we're talking about. $8 billion on a worldwide basis, and on an employee basis, right? Probably this is one of the from an employee to revenue ratio is one of the best in the service industry, because on 8 billion services, having about 44,000 employees is probably one of the best ratios you could have per employee to revenue. Compared to large service organizations, if you look up where we talk about few billions and running into hundreds and thousands of employees, correct? So this is something unique, not many people know about it. If you further look into the P&L, into the details of the 8 billion business, about 50% of the roughly $4 billion comes from the traditional Dell services, which is around warranty, support, and so on and so forth. So what it means is the remaining $4 billion, of which we do $2 billion in the infrastructure services. For example, infrastructure consulting and managed services, part of which I run. And another $2 billion we do on the applications and BPO, right? So fairly, we are known in this space, and it's a fairly large service organization we are dealing with. And it's rated as number one in terms of customer satisfaction. Even the recent report confirms these data points. And we support over 14 million clients on a worldwide basis with a 1.4 million servers. So it's a fairly large infrastructure we have built to support our customers. And we cover over 100 countries, close to 90 countries in operations, about 60 support centers worldwide to run on a worldwide basis. So it's a fairly large service organization we are talking about. So in a broader scheme of things, the service organization, we are broken into 4 areas. As I said, one is or more 3: the support, the traditional, the infrastructure, the consulting, and the applications and BPO. And this is where the whole numbers roll into in terms of the overall offerings. Moving into the infrastructure services, the consulting services which I run as a business in Dell, we provide consulting on the infrastructure space on 4 areas. The first is in the data center space. So where we provide end-to-end services on the facilities, primarily on planning and management and building data centers. In terms of design, build, audit, migration, tier certification, on the right level of tier, we do very well. On the compute part, we do the platform consolidation, migration, virtualization, standardization, relocation, building a private cloud, the whole set of things around this we do for our customers. Now, as we speak, we are executing very large projects for some of the large telcos. In this piece, we'll speak more about that. On the enterprise architecture, we built the end-to-end networking infrastructure. and we provide the unified communication, the collaboration tools, the messaging, and the directory services. On the end user computing part, we provide the imaging, migration, desktop virtualization, application packaging, and so forth. So in essence, what we are talking about is everything to do with infrastructure, be it your data center, your networks, be it your end user computing. We provide the services end to end. That's what we provide in a nutshell. So our approach is slightly different from many of the traditional models, and perhaps this is one of the reasons why we've been very, very successful in having 43,000 employees to a 8 billion revenue from a headcount to revenue ratio on a services, right? So we follow what we call a WADI model, workshop, assessment, design, and implement. So this is very different from the conventional model, where whenever customer looks for a certain solution, as against the conventional model of sending an army of consultants into the customer's place doing different assessments, we go through a series of workshops, do an assessment, and then along with the customer we do the design and then implement. And many customers who have engaged with us, they've gained immense benefit both in terms of return on investment and turnaround time by partnering with Dell. So our approach is about starting with a workshop, as against starting with a PowerPoint presentation, do a dialogue with the customer, map understand the customer requirements. It's not just a face-to-face. We use tools, technologies, processes, and people interaction in terms of Q&A to really capture what you're looking for, convert into an assessment document, then probably on a larger project we do a pilot of that within your premises, and then go about designing an infrastructure based on the outcome of your pilot, and then go about implementing and managing. So this model has been very successful, and customers have really gained immense benefit out of this model. On the compute part, going a little more into the details, we primarily focus on 5 areas. Easy to remember, anything on compute. Consolidation, the cloud infrastructure, moving from a larger infrastructure to a smaller infrastructure to moving to a cloud. We could do this. System integration being the part of that. Platform migration, we do fairly heavily on this space, and the data center relocation. So as we speak, we are executing a couple of very large projects in the telco space. For example, in the migration space, where we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of servers on the non-Intel or non-proprietary architecture. We are actually moving their applications, business processes, and systems into an open architecture in a consolidated manner, where we are moving from hundreds and thousands of servers into a smaller footprint and in a real live telco environment. So we are executing such projects right in this country. Relocation is a fairly large area we do, especially in customers where pockets of data centers have mushroomed over a period of time, but it's a time for us to consolidate, migrate, and standardize. We do that pretty accurately. Now, as we speak, one of the largest projects we are executing is a live over 700, 800 racks, large data center, production data center. We are migrating to the next tier and moving up with minimal downtime. So that's the kind of experience, capability, and talent Dell has to really sustain mission-critical applications. So on the data center front, especially on the facilities part, I want to spend a couple of minutes on what Dell does uniquely. What do we do differently from the conventional model? Unlike the conventional model, which is all about invading the space for a data center based on the forecast we had put in place for the business, and then start populating racks from one corner. That's the traditional model we do, right? We invade the space, secure the space, power, cool, and then start invading the space as we speak, correct? And that obviously is, today the cost of economics of running down is very, very high, because we end up cooling 70-60% of the space which is never used for compute space. So the Dell's approach, combined with the IT compute I spoke about earlier, we take the IT load first. We look at your from your business processes, from your systems, look at what is the IT infrastructure you need. When I say IT, I'm talking about your applications, processes, systems, everything. What is the IT compute you need to run the business processes? And then convert into that's where the workshop and the assessment really helps do it. From there, we translate it into a compute space, and then determine what kind of space you need from a power and a cooling standpoint to really give you infrastructure for you to give that compute power, and then go about building the data center. This will be very, very useful for a greenfield environment where you are starting up something new. For those customers, for many of you who are already running an existing DC, this approach also still is very good because it really gives a view what is the level of DC efficiency you are running and where we can optimize, where we can rationalize, where we can consolidate. And many customers with this approach were able to save the power and cooling costs, and we were able to give back the space to the facilities which they would eagerly, with the red carpet welcome the space back, because today office space is a premium, correct? And hardly the facilities team here that IT or the DC team, the data center team is giving back the space for operations. It's the other way around they are used to. Right? So we are beginning to see very good traction, very good success in this model, and clearly we are able to demonstrate a measurable ROI based on the journey we go through, workshop, assessment, design, and implement of this model. So we are seeing lots of excitement among the customers, and we'll be very happy to support you as we take forward. On the communication and collaboration, to quickly take through some of the areas, we help you build your communication infrastructure in the unified communication, the messaging, primarily around the Microsoft technology, and then the collaboration tools, audio video integration. Today we do it seamlessly, and we'll be able to build a seamless communication and collaboration infrastructure where you can enable your employees to compute in a more efficient and an elaborate manner. So these are some of the customers we have done successfully. Lot more to have, just to give an idea of the kind of customers we are going after and the customers whom we are partnering with to offer these kind of consulting services. So with that takes me to the next stage, which is one is the infrastructure build, which is design build. The second is the management piece of it. How are we running the operation from a so how are we running the operations from a build to operate to get into a steady state? So what essentially we help customers as part of the IT transformation journey is we could either build from scratch or optimize the current infrastructure and define an as-is to be state and really help you move to the to-be situation. For example, you are spending X amount of dollars as a percentage of your IT budget for running an IT operation. So we could take it from there, put a roadmap, and then move it towards maybe X minus 10% or X minus 20% over a 3-year period, and really help you streamline where you can do automation, where you can streamline your processes, where you can, for example, move to a remote infrastructure management as an example to really cut down your operations costs so that you could become more lean in terms of running your operations. In other words, this model really helps you to regain the budget you're spending to keep your lights on and use those same money for strategic or new initiatives. So our mission, our journey is all about reduce your cost of operations, make it smaller, lean, really transform to a newer architecture, and give that money back to you, which you can claim and use it for strategic initiatives. So your IT budget remains the same. It's just about optimizing your strategic spend versus operational needs. So some of the areas we do on the infrastructure managed services, on the enterprise networks as part of our core service offerings on the enterprise networks, end user computing space, we provide end-to-end services there. Then on the enterprise computing, we provide both on-site as well as remote infrastructure management. We have the state-of-the-art tools deployed within the country where we will be able to monitor a customer's infrastructure remotely and help you sustain those operations. And security as an infrastructure security, we are ramping up there, and you will see a lot of more discussions and initiatives coming from Dell in the security space. That's one area you will see huge traction coming from Dell in the security arena. Some data points just to give you an idea of the kind of recognitions we got in the market as an infrastructure end-to-end service provider. On the Help Desk Institute, for example, we got the External Support Award for Excellence in Execution in 2009. 2011, we moved on the Magic Quadrant in the outsourcing leader, and similarly in the desktop outsourcing, we moved into Magic Quadrant in 2011. And also in the data center space, we were at position 11 or 12, if I remember right, in 2007. We moved into the ranks 2 last year as we speak in terms of our end-to-end offering from technologies, your ability to implement, your ability to run the operation as an end-to-end provider. So clearly, the market is telling, the customers are telling us that we are doing things which are right for our customers. So from a reach standpoint, we follow the one globe model, one delivery model. These are some of the major operation centers we have on a worldwide basis, fairly large, established worldwide. This is a global delivery centers we have, and we have fair amount of service desk, the operations across Americas, EMEAs, and APJ to support a 24/7 operations. Data centers, we have built fair amount of data centers to really both manage customers' infrastructure as well as provide. This is more of a private data centers were built for specific customers or set of customers where customers are actually hosting their infrastructure in Dell premises. So what it really means is these are part of the transformation journey we have taken with those customers, where we have taken those customers, maybe they were spending about 82 or 83% of their IT budget for operations, and really help them drive to a 60, 70 points, and as part of the transformation journey, move their infrastructure partly into Dell infrastructure. So these are some of the global footprints we have, and clearly, we have established very well in this space. So in summary, I'd like to conclude in saying that you could you can look at Dell as a new partner on infrastructure services. Your core business is something, maybe IT as a services or manufacturing, finance, PFSA, whichever the business segments you are into. You could look at Dell as an infrastructure partner which can help you really transform from wherever you are to the next stage, be it from building your infrastructure like your data centers, networks, your communications, or running these operations end-to-end. We provide end-to-end service across the country 24/7. So that's a new Dell services we are offering. We'll be more than glad to assist you as we through. That's all I have from my side. Any questions? I guess we have a Q&A following this, right? Okay. Thank you so much for your.